Welcome back, everybody, to Slam Shenanigans. So I know it's been a while, but we've had some weather, and we've had a lot of work trying to get this project going, which involves moving this container. And as you can see, I get about 6 inches at a time when I'm only working by myself. So it's a tough process to get this 40-foot high cube container off of my slab where I'm trying to build my barn. And then this project is all about building an equipment shed pad and leveling it. And we had a lot of weather in between here to deal with it, and a few other projects that I dealt with. Working on a new welder, made a smooth face bucket for my 3-foot bucket, so I've got a leveling bucket I'll use in this project. Anyways, let's get into it. So basically, now that I have this container moved into location, I need to excavate beside it so that I have a place to park my equipment that's level, and then I can build the lean-to off of this high cube container. So here's kind of the starting way it looked. It was a very steep slope, had a bunch of trees I had to clear out. So here I'm using my tractor to bring in my 2-foot digging bucket. I've got the 16-incher on it right now. And as I said, this is everything on my property is up on a hill. So from where my tractor is to where the bottom of the container is probably about a 12-foot elevation change there. So this is all about digging out from the edge of the container and making a level spot so that I'll be able to park my tractor, the excavator, and some implements under a lean-to that I'm going to build off of this container. So this one's going to be kind of long, and I've been sitting on this content for a while. Did this quite a bit ago. This is kind of in the middle of a couple different snowstorms, so you kind of see that throughout the project. But like I said, a lot of this is going to be long, so I've tried to edit out as much of the nonsense in between. The digging portion actually probably took, I'd say, two to four different shots at it, and a couple of them were like 4 hours plus. So I kind of got to do it in between other things that I have to do, commitments, and we're finally getting into the time change where after this project was completed, now I'll start being able to do stuff after work because I'll have some daylight. Anyways, starting out here, basically just getting the excavator fired up, and I need to change buckets. So I'm real close to the container at the moment, so I'm going kind of slow here, make sure I'm not going to hit that, and you'll see me kind of get up and look and make sure that I'm not going to smash in my container, just so I can get this bucket changed out. So I decided it was a little tight and just kind of squished over some, and the place looks like a mess. I apologize, but that's the way it goes on property. You gotta do about 10 things to get ready to do one thing. And the end goal here is to have everything to where I've got a place for it, and it's got some room to move, and I pretty much have to make level. Right here you see me moving one of the large boulders that is typical of our property out of the way. I don't necessarily just want to bury it, so I kind of move most of the big boulders out of the way as I'm doing things, and either they're going to be utilized to help with some creek landscaping, or they're going to be shoring for retaining walls, etc. As I said, everything is a slope on our property. There was virtually no flat when we bought it, and any flat that I need I have to make. So I don't have a quick connect. Well, I do have, I guess, what you call a manual quick connect. So here I'm taking my pin out, getting back in. I'll rotate this thing back up and out of the way. Drop this 16-inch bucket. We'll let her go. Hook up to the 24, which carries a lot of dirt, actually. And you'll see that later on when I get into moving stuff around. Again, it was, I shot a lot of this video, and I probably should have done all the digging in time lapse. I'm sorry, that's why it's gonna be so long. So with the manual, you gotta take the pin out by yourself and put the pin back in by yourself. So I figured I'd show you guys while I'm going through that. So now I got the 2-foot digging bucket on. To start this, I didn't necessarily want to start with the excavator in a wonky off-hill position, so spent a little bit of time here just trying to level the inside track there, the right track for me, left as you're looking at it. And it looks kind of jerky here, and I'm definitely no Chris at Let's Dig, but I'm not as jerky as it shows because I'm 2 times on the video speed here. So anyways, this is just me trying to get a track space level so that I can actually start my digging. Again, as we're watching me just do this prep work here to where we can start digging. This is a 40-foot high cube, so it's 9.5 feet tall versus 8 feet tall. When I started looking at this, I kind of figured to get enough room to where I could pull my tractors in from the bottom and back them in or drive them straight in, I thought I'd need about 32, 35 feet, something like that, from the edge of the container out flat. So looking at the slope and everything I had, I thought maybe I could get by with about taking 3 feet down. So you'll see as this video progresses that I start with one section of digging, and then I go deeper and deeper in successive passes. So here I'm just clearing some trees that you saw in the beginning of the video out of the way. And I'll do this several times as I move down the hill and make more and more flat. So this slope that was directly in front of the container here was all manzanita, a few cedars and some pines that I've been just kind of taking care of as we go. And again, I'm just leveling from left to right in this view to make sure that my tracks are going to be, my actual excavator is going to be fairly level when I start digging the hole out here in the shelf, if you will. But yeah, going back to the container, so once I get this flat leveled out in future videos, hopefully what I'll do is I'll bolt a ledger board up on the top of this container here, and I'll use that to attach rafters that'll go out to support beams, and just basically make either just a lean-to or a 2-sided lean-to, maybe with a closed-in on the end that we're looking at from. So here's the actual first scoops. This is where I'm starting to dig. This is where I'm going to start just taking out the majority of the soil, and I'll move it from my right to left, your left to right. And the whole intent of this was just to start digging next to the container, move it out downhill, and then just kind of moving the excavator over as we go and trying to get this level. And again, this is going to be a long video. It wasn't really a great way to, I don't have the software yet to speed it up more than 2 times. So this is a lot of rinse and repeat here, but you guys can actually, if you want to, just forward or kind of high speed through this. There's a little bit of me talking in here, but I understand if you want to cruise through this, or if you enjoy it, just sit back, enjoy your coffee or whatever you got in your hand, and watch me dig. Oh, speaking of the digging bucket, this thing is fantastic for digging through rocks and everything else with the tooth. But as I've seen with a lot of my projects here, this thing leaves a pretty rough surface. So again, I'm not an expert excavator operator. I just get to do this and play around on my property with my little mini X here, this little 3.5 ton unit Volvo. But as I saw the need for a smooth bucket, and I've been looking for one just to buy, and they're really hard to find with my particular attach type. And then it's whether or not it's a small one for trenching or it's a big wide one for leveling. It's kind of hard to find. They're few and far between. So I kind of decided just to make my own, and you'll see that in you saw that in the earlier picture there, that smooth bucket. So basically I took my 3-foot bucket, which is too big for this excavator for digging per se, especially when the soil's wet. It'll scoop fine, but that's just a lot of weight if I need to swing it like this, even this far, with this 2-foot bucket. There's a lot of weight in there, and you put a 3-foot bucket in there, it's full. You'll see when I switch to that later in the video that it's a lot of weight. So anyways, but mainly I wanted the smooth bucket for more finished and grading, to where I can just come in with my tractor and clean it up a little bit afterwards, and I don't have to worry about major rocks or anything, because these teeth do dig up rocks. And although this soil right here is probably some of the best I have on my land in terms of not having a ton of rocks, it's still rocky. And with a smooth bucket, you don't tear up that underlaying surface as much. So it's kind of with my soil, you try to dig what you need and then kind of not disturb as much as you can to get that finished grade. Because no matter what you do, there's a rock under there an inch or two down. So it's just kind of a where do you stop kind of thing. And for the smooth bucket, for grading, if I'm not taking a big chunk of dirt and a lot of weight, the wider is better. So that's why I chose my 3-foot bucket, and I made basically just put a cap on it. And I'll throw a video out here later. Again, I've been sitting on a lot of content. Just my full-time job keeps me very, very busy. So to get out and do all this stuff and then video edit on top of it, I'm not there yet, but trying to get there. Anyways, I'm gonna not talk here for a bit and just let you guys watch this and listen to the music. Alright, so now that I've got quite a bit of this dug here, and I can kind of see that I've got to start, I get off and go chase down a tape so I can see where I'm at in terms of my depth and see how close I am to what I think I need, which I thought was 3 feet in the beginning. So I think I was about there. So I said, okay, I'm good with this, so I'll just keep digging at this depth. And again, I was amazed at the soil right here, because this is not typical for me. It's not usually this free of rocks. And trust me, I have a lot of rocks on my property. Alright, so I'm kind of just continuing to move dirt here, and coming up you should see me get off there and start picking stuff up. And what you'll see me pick up is kind of some black tubes, throwing some sticks out of the way too, but there's just a ton of those things. If you see me throw them, they're basically 3-foot black accordion type tubes, and I think there's some sort of breathing apparatus tube, almost like an SCBA tube from way back in the day. If you're a firefighter and know what an SCBA is. Apparently a doctor owned this property before us and had just a zillion of these things all over the place, and you just threw them out and covered them and buried them. There's usually, a Y with 2 of these tubes and some sort of canister attached to it, and also some things that were not syringes, but kind of like distribution tips or something, white plastic, and so I'm constantly picking this stuff up. I've probably thrown out 6 to a dozen trash can fulls of these things. So I'm just constantly working to try and clean up my place and get rid of his crap as I go. And then there's just normal dirt, and I mean not dirt, but normal trash too that he threw out, cans, bottles, etc. So I've gone to the dump a lot with stuff that was left over from others. So this is where I've pushed the brush down and I go into time lapse. So I'm just trying to clean out some of this brush so I can keep going further with the digging, because I don't want to necessarily just cover up that brush. It'll cause sinkholes later on. And then this is just more of the digging and going further out with the pad. So basically I'm moving dirt from the top of the hill to the bottom of the hill and trying to level as I go. This is coming up towards the end of, I think, the first pass. And this is the end of the first pass, maybe. Yeah, I think that was only like the 3-foot cut. But, and again, some of these clips are out of chronological order, but here's the road that I'm going to try and use to come up. And then to the left here is going to actually be a little short run from the barn that I'm going to finish. I should be able to drive out of that with the side-by-side and straight down in this area, maybe the tractor all the way through the barn in there. And again, like I said, chronologically this may be out a little bit, but you kind of get the idea of what I was doing here is just digging, pushing, leveling, everything from the top to the bottom. And this is kind of just finishing up the edge of the road, where I'm going to have this road go kind of right to the left of my tractor down, as you saw there. That's where it goes, and I've got one culvert down there because I've got some water going through there. This is just looking at the type of brush that was all down below there. Some of the pictures in between the project. Again, chronologically, just kind of, I think you guys get the idea of where I started. This is the smooth bucket I was talking about earlier. So it's my 3-foot bucket that I put a cap on. Excuse me. So showing some of the progress photos, if you will. And then I think I should be going into bringing the excavator up pretty soon here. This is kind of where I've been working with the 3-foot. This, you can see there's still teeth on that, or is that the 3-foot? I can't really tell. But just dig, scoop, blade out, and rinse and repeat. It's all said and done. I was pretty happy with the way it came out. So this is progress again. I don't think this is finished grade. And what you'll see me here is I should start walking down. I'm going to grab the excavator, come on up and start on the, I guess, next pass. So again, chronologically, I'm kind of messed up here. Keep apologizing, but stopped at the tractor for something. You can kind of see I'm 5'10", so you can kind of see how much elevation change is down there. Like I said, I think from the bottom of the Connex to about where that track on the excavator is sitting is probably 12 plus feet difference in elevation. So I'll still have to drive up quite a little bit of hill here to get to this pad, but it's nothing like it was before. And this pad, when I'm all said and done, there's a ditch that runs to the south of my John Deere there. So when we get the runoff in the winter, that ditch runs. I have the majority of it actually routed up above the Connex now that goes into an old pond that I'm probably have another video on that. I'm not necessarily gonna rehash it, but I'm gonna utilize a lot of the dirt that was there for the pond levee to make more flat even below where the excavator is now. Future videos, more content coming. Just because that dirt is good and it's not rocky, and it was definitely put in there by somebody probably back in the 40s or 50s or 60s, I don't know. But it's fresh, good dirt, not a lot of rock. I don't have to dig through DG, decomposed granite, or boulders or anything. It should be fairly good dirt that I can utilize. The pond levee, I think I figured it out once, and it's hundreds and hundreds of cubic yards of dirt. This little project that I did, I kind of tried to calculate it, and it's, because it's all slope, I figured anywhere from 200 to 350 cubic feet of dirt, cubic yards of dirt. So 200 to 350 cubic yards of dirt is what I moved on this project here. So you can see I'm coming up, I got my tooth bucket on, and I think what I'm doing here is positioning to where I'm going to put my tooth bucket up on the top. So I got to unhook it and do all that happy stuff. Once I get this unhooked, I'll pop it up on top, get onto my 3-footer with the smooth bucket, and start taking some more dirt and going from the top to the bottom and making more flat out. So what I want to end up with is about a 16-foot overhang, and to be able to come in with a tractor and an implement, not necessarily any trailers, but I want to be able to pull my tractor in and either back it in or drive straight in, and I want to have enough room to where I'm not worried about going over an edge as I'm backing out or pulling out. So that's why I decided to go more than 3 feet down from the bottom of the Connex and continue on. So here you can see some of the close-ups of the 3-footer working, and I'm not sure if these were some of the first scoops or not. Again, I sat on this content too long, so I kind of lost track of when I loaded it up where it was chronologically in terms of what I did. But I think going to this next scene, I should go back to my 2-foot bucket. Yeah, it's got the teeth there. I'm kind of pointing this downhill to where I can get my my cab kind of level, and this is where I'm going to take all this brush that I keep pushing down where my pad is, and I'm just going to move this from right at the edge of the pad, scoop it up and get it out of there and put it closer to the ditch on the bottom, and then you'll see me relocate. And I'll actually take all this brush and just throw it right in my burn pit, which is below us here. This thumb on this excavator just makes things like this so much easier. Sometimes you get lucky and you get great scoops, and sometimes my talent just isn't quite up with my luck and it gets a couple branches, but it definitely gets the job done. I know everybody's been commenting that I need a grapple on my John Deere, and I definitely do. Just one thing at a time. Thing about the grapple versus the thumb is that you have a lot more mobility. And when I mean mobility, you can, once you grab something, you don't just have the swing radius of the excavator. You can actually very quickly go from, one point on your property to a quarter mile or 100 yards away, where with the excavator, you have to either grab a scoop at a time and try to grab big scoops and then track it somewhere very slowly, or you just do like this. You move it from one spot to the next, and then you move your excavator that distance on the other side of the pile, and hopefully you've got it there. So and it's funny because it doesn't look like it here, but I'm on a pretty good little slope right there. That's why I pointed it downhill, because if I'd have just stuck my blade down coming straight into that pile, I was at a pretty good angle downhill. This is where I'm trying to break all this stuff loose that's entangled in other bushes or buried actually in the dirt. I thought this was all sped up 2 times, but sure seems slow. So this is where I've repositioned down below. I think I'm actually on the other side of this little drainage, if you will. So I'm grabbing the stuff and putting it on the other side of me here, tracking back up. You can barely see the outline, but there's a good burn pit there. I don't know, it's probably 12, 15 feet in diameter and about 4 feet deep. So I dug that in another video, I think, if you'd watch that. Just a quick one. It was out in the open there, which is an area I would have loved to kept for just open meadow, but it's just like the perfect spot to burn in. It's kind of towards the top of the property, and it's way out in the open, away from the power line for the most part that goes through our property, and nothing around it. And I've actually got a hose close by in case anything were to go crazy, which most of the time it doesn't, but can't be too careful up here in the hills in the Sierra Nevadas. Do not want fires getting out of control. Well, fires can move pretty quick up in this area, and we're in a canyon that's known for probably one of the worst. If it ever does go below us, it's going to be a chimney up towards our house. That's why I've cleared almost an acre behind the house from when we moved in. Trees were touching our house, and it was just thick as Sherwood forest. So I've cleared out an entire acre, and during the summer I set up a little fire pump down at our creek, which is below the house. It runs year round. And I have a hose permanently strung out and coiled up at the end of the house on the fire side, on the downhill, down canyon side, all summer long. And I've done that. Actually, I only think just last summer was the first time I did that, but it made a huge peace of mind for us, because all I got to do is go down there, and draft is already in the creek, all set up, and I just got to pull the cord on the pump. It's a little Honda engine. It starts up every time. And then I got an 1.5-inch fire hose with a real fire nozzle to protect my house should a fire come up canyon. So here I am done with moving the brush into the burn pit there. You can see in the background, and heading back up the hill. This is kind of the end of the day on one day where it's pretty much done with everything. And again, chronologically, I was terrible in this video. I apologize again, guys, but this is that digging bucket, and this is some of the last cuts, getting down to about 5 feet from the bottom of the Connex, and then just doing the final leveling. I think I had to go some fuel there or something. Got the tractor to clean it up and make kind of my finished grade. Brought that back up, did a little bit of work on the road coming in, a couple more grading things, a couple more tractor deals, getting towards the end of the night, and this is pretty much what I ended up with. So I was happy. Got a place to park everything now. Now I just need to build the lean-to. So you can see that I'll have this space, put a ledger board up there and a 16-foot lean-to, and I'm good to go. Anyways, thanks for watching, and appreciate you checking this out. And if you like this, please hit like and subscribe. Share it with your friends. Have a great day.